Hello everyone, and today we are back for another Loomian Legacy top 5 video, and we're going to be talking about my top 5 most hated Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy, part 3. I made this list twice already over a year ago, but since it's been a year, I'm going to update my list on the top 5 most hated Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy. So let's head right into the video. Number 5 on my list of the top 5 most hated Loomians is Landtorch. Now, I used to hate Landtorch a lot more when it came out, but now I think my hatred to this Loomian has died down. The reason why I hated Landtorch in the past was because of how hard Flare hits. I mean, 70 power, and when you times that by 2 in the Do or Die ability, hits extremely hard. It can pretty much one-shot Loomians on not super effective hits, which is kind of insane. You would not only need a range tank, but you would need a range tank that is not weak to Landtorch in order for it to not destroy your team. Like, that's what makes Landtorch extremely dangerous, is because it hits so hard, it's really fast, and since it's a fire-light type, it actually has a very good defensive typing. You could also use a support set like Send-Off or Wildfire, but the most common sets are Do or Die, with Flare and Flash and Flee, with Fire Breath and Fade Away being the other moves. Not to mention that you can also run mixed Landtorch as well, so you can actually hit Loomians on both sides, making Landtorch even scarier to go up against. And that's why I used to hate Landtorch a lot. Now, I don't hate it as much because there are a lot more tanks that were added into Loomian Legacy as of late, and also rain teams have made Landtorch a lot less effective. And that's why Landtorch is number 5 on this list. Number 4 onto this list is going to be Stratosaur. Soul Burst Stratosaur in particular, because people run the Frail Armor Stratosaurs, get hit by a melee move, get a +2 speed stat, click Magnify, and then they Soul Burst, and then they win. That's what Soul Burst Stratosaur does, and it's really hard to beat once you give it a Frail Armor boost. You would need a range tank in specific just to get rid of the Soul Burst Stratosaur. If you don't have a range tank, good luck! Soul Burst Stratosaur just swept you. Even if you have a range tank, you might have to severely chip the opposing Stratosaur in order to just give yourself a chance. That's what makes Soul Burst Stratosaur really annoying. If it gets that Frail Armor boots, it outspeeds every Loomian in the entire game, and even without it, it still outspeeds a lot of threats regardless. Not to mention that Air Metal is pretty good offensively when you combine it with Energy Surge coverage, and it also has utility options like Tase and Gust, so it can get rid of hazards, and it can also tase you, which is very annoying. And that's what makes Stratosaur one of the most annoying Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy. And it's not just a Soul Burst form. Normal Stratosaur can be very annoying in its own right as well. So that's why Stratosaur is the number 4 most hated Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy. Number 3 onto this list is going to be Cheyen. I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this one, but I despise Cheyen. Cheyen is one of those Loomians, if you make one wrong move against it, it will easily sweep you. Like, it's very weird because it doesn't even look like it hits that hard. 95 melee attack? I mean, that's not hard at all. The thing is, that 95 melee attack is clickbait. It's because it has an ability called Sharp Claws where it can actually boost its actual attack. And then once you get a Brawn boost, it's game over. Light Ice offense with, Brawler coverage makes Cheyen really hard to beat. There aren't many Loomians that can actually swap into a Cheyen, which is extremely scary. Like, Plant types can't swap in, and Spirit types can't swap in to Mega Punch. Light types can't really swap in neither because Mega Punch, and a lot of the light types are weak to Mega Punch because they have an alternative type team that makes them weak to Brawler. Like, Cheyen is so hard to beat, and if you make one wrong move to Cheyen, it's going to sweep your team. Not to mention that some Cheyens run Light Dash instead of Radiant Rush, meaning that they'll priority your faster Loomians and your boost Loomians, making Cheyen really annoying, and that's why it's number 3 on the list. Number 2 onto this list is a Loomian that everyone hates, Imperior. I despise Imperior, and there's one reason why I despise Imperior. Resentful. This Loomian has killed several showcase videos because I tried to set up, I tried to go for the sweep, and then an Imperior comes in and completely ruins the showcase. It's annoying, it shouldn't be a thing, and while this thing can be played around with hazards, it's not the easiest thing in the world when that team has hazard removal, because people are smart. People know that they're not going to swap in an Imperior on hazards. They're going to get rid of the hazards first, and then they're going to swap in their Imperior, so they have all their health, and you take all of the damage. And that's what I hate about Imperior, is that it relies on its health, and since it has a very high health stat, it can pretty much insta-kill most Loomians in one hit, which is kind of serious. Like, if they KO you, your Super Sweeper is dead, and there's nothing you can do about it, because a lot of these Imperiors are either ran on stall teams or hyper-offensive teams, meaning that if you lose your crucial wall breaker, either another wall breaker is going to sweep you, or you're going to get stalled out by a stall team. And that's why I despise Imperior, because it's really hard to predict, and it's really hard to deal with, and it's very annoying for showcases. Honorable mentions. So, honorable mention number 1 is El Iguana. This was formerly number 1 on my last top 5 Hated Loomians list, my part 2 version, actually. But I only have it as an honorable mention because I don't hate it as much as I used to. I still don't like El Iguana's design, and I still think Geklo has a way better design, but El Iguana has some perks, and while it can be annoying with Taze, it's not the most annoying Loomian in the world. At least not as bad as the other Loomians on this list, so it's only an honorable mention. Honorable mention number 2 is Soulburst Eruptodon, and this Loomian would have made the list before the weather update, but ever since the addition of the heavy rain, it has countered Soulburst Eruptodon quite a bit. Yes, this thing is still annoying, and it can still heavily carry teams, especially after Magnify. You can get a Magnified and a Hellstorm, and it can destroy your team still. But I do find it a little bit less annoying than it used to be, so that's why it's only an honorable mention, and that's why it's not on the list. My most hated Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy is Joltooth. Oh my gosh, I despise Joltooth. I despise Soulburst Joltooth, and it's mainly Soulburst Joltooth. Normal Joltooth, I'm fine with. I can live with normal Joltooth, but Soulburst Joltooth, I despise. And there's a couple reasons why I despise Soulburst Joltooth. It's just like with Cheyen. One mistake, and your game is over. One mistake, just like that. It's that powerful. While there are a couple Loomians that can wall Joltooth, like Tundralin, Lachette, and even like Obsidian can still handle it okay, if you can get 1 or 2 Drudges, the game is over. It hits that hard, and it will outspeed most Boots Loomians because its Soulburst speed is 109, making it the fastest Drudge Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy. And it's not even close. Not to mention, it has Electric Ancient Stab with Earth coverage. Vulgar Fangs also disable support moves, so even if you go into your tanks, you can't click Rejuvenate to heal your HP back. And that's the thing that makes Soulburst Joltooth annoying. Not to mention, it has an ability that can actually make its electric hits hit Earth types. That is stupid, and that's why Joltooth is number 1 on the list. And here it is, Joltooth, the most hated Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy, in my opinion. And my opinion will not change unless it either loses Drudge or its Soulburst ability is changed. Because I find it ridiculous that an electric-type Loomian can hit Earth types with electric moves. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this top 5 list, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!